Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Laura Nicolas, and in today's video I didn't do much building. So what I'm gonna do is respond to a few questions that I had in the comments. Thanks, Eileen, for the questions, because I guess that this is new for a lot of people that you haven't heard about this nativity diorama community. So you have a lot of questions that I just give for granted because I've been doing it forever. So I'm gonna try to respond to those questions, and for that I've came to my office because I'm gonna use the computer to show some charts and some stuff. At least for the question about the scale, it's gonna be easier that way. So let's start with those questions. One of the first questions was about the material that we use. We use foam. We use both the expanded foam and the extruded foam. The expanded one is this white one that has those kind of small balls. That's the one you would get for if you buy a TV or anything that needs to be protected in the box. You will use that expanded foam, and we use that one. You can buy large sheets or you can get scrap pieces everywhere, basically. That's the expanded one. Then the extruded one, the XPS foam, that's used mainly in construction sites, and you can find it at any hardware store. And there are different densities, and each density has a color. And basically, those are used for insulation, and they come in different thicknesses, different densities, different colors. But you buy them also in sheets. And the thing about the foam is that it's not expensive, especially if you know someone at the construction industry and they can give you the scrap pieces. So, and also if you walk around, you will find scrap pieces of foam. If you have to buy them, it's not expensive also. Then it's very easy to work with, meaning that you just need a hobby knife. With a hobby knife, you can do pretty much everything. Of course, if you have specialized tools, if you have a foam cutter, there are different tools, then it's going to be easier. But if you don't have those, with a hobby knife, you can do pretty much everything. So that's why it's super easy to work with. And then it is also super easy to texture. You just grab a piece and you draw a line, and that it's gonna get marked. So it holds the any texture pretty easy. So with different easy tools, you can very easily recreate the texture for rock or stone or wood or different things, and it's easy. And then it's also super lightweight. This thing weighs almost nothing. Right now, in all the clubs that I know that they do nativity dioramas, almost everyone uses foam because it's the easiest and it's the lightest. Before foam, people was using wood and it was using plaster, and things got heavy super quickly. But with the foam, even if one thing is super big, one person can hold it, and it's not a problem. So that's one of the main advantages for me, at least. And also the part where it's super easy to cut and the part where it's super easy to texture. Then another question that came in the comments was, what do we do when we close the exhibition? Do we basically throw everything and we start building and we start build all the buildings again? And no, at least not in my club. We do a pretty big diorama, and when we build houses, we usually, the kind of houses that we build, they are typically Catalan farmhouse, a masia, and we have different sizes, different styles, but they are pretty much almost all of them masia farmhouses, and we don't throw them. We keep them. We have storage. We keep them, and then next year when we have to build a new diorama, we might use the same constructions that we already have, but we may do a different composition, and we may repaint, or we might add an extra element or change a door or change something. We might do minor changes and just display it differently. And so we keep almost all of them. And we use them 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. And it's true that at some point we might throw it and start again a new one. But we do keep most of the constructions. We keep all of the figurines. We don't throw figurines. In my diorama, that it's that big, we need around 400 figurines every year. That's only counting persons. If we count animals, then the number goes up. But if we only count people, we use 400 figurines. And we have a big collection that it has grown over the years. At my club is 40 years old, so they started doing those nativity dioramas 40 years ago. At the beginning, it was much smaller, so they needed way less figurines. And every year, they would buy new figurines and maybe grow the collection by 5 or 10 per year. And then it got to a point where it grew to the 230 square meters that we have now. Right now, we have to use around 400 figurines, some bigger, some smaller, because we do perspective. So things that are closer to the viewer are bigger, things that are further from the viewer are smaller. So we use different sizes of figurines and also different sizes of constructions and houses and trees and all of the other elements that go into a diorama. We use perspective. So we use different scales. That's the next question about the scale. So I'm going to try to explain that one. But yeah, so what we do is we keep all of those things that we've built over the years, even the mountains that we use in the background, that's also foam. It's the expanded foam, the white one, that you can buy large cubes, and then we shape it as a mountain and we use it for the background. And then every year we take out those mountains and then we rearrange everything, but we use the same foam, we use the same mountains. It's just that we display them differently, and then maybe we have to work on when you put one piece of mountain here and another one here and it's in a different place, you might have to work the place where they connect and repaint something, but we keep almost everything. And then for the figurines, yes, we keep growing the collection, and every year we now with 3D printing, instead of only 10 per year, we can do 30 per year because it's cheaper than when we had to buy them, but still we keep them all. And next year, maybe one of the figurines is not going to be on the display, so we will keep it away. But maybe the other year, we will need that figurine again. So we use the same figurines again and again and again. We keep growing the collection, but we use them. And then we do collaborations with other groups from around us, because every town or every city, or a lot of towns and a lot of cities here in Catalonia, in Spain, and in other parts of the world, do those kind of nativity dioramas and have groups that do it. So we collaborate to each other. So if one year I need figurines that I don't have because I want to do a special kind of diorama and I don't have figurines for that, I might ask another group if they have that, and I can use it and then use it one year and then give it back. Or they ask me and I give it to them, and then after the exhibition is closed, they return it. So we do those kind of collaborations also. And my group is kind of a big group. And so in the past, we had to ask other groups if we could use their figurines. But now we are big enough that mostly we don't have to ask because we can do it ourselves, especially with the 3D printing. But there are other groups that ask us, and we have no problem. If one figurine, we are not going to use it this year, we have no problem giving it to them. They can use it in their exhibition and return it back next year. So I said that we store almost everything and we only destroy it or throw it away after we have used it at least 5, 6, 7 years. There are other groups that maybe they don't have as much storage space or whatever, and then they tend to destroy most of the constructions every year and then rebuild them again. Maybe they use the foam from the other side and they use the same foam to do the two constructions, but yet there is people that keeps everything. The figures, no one throws the figures, everyone keeps them. But the constructions, the houses and the buildings and all of that, there is people, we keep everything, and there are other groups that destroy everything, and every year they build it again. Then there was a question about scale. What scale do we use? And for that, I'm gonna use the computer. All right, so I've created here a chart in Excel just to compare the scale of the nativity dioramas with other scales that are used in other kind of scenarios. I've calculated everything for an average person of 170 centimeters or 5 feet 7. And basically, for nativity dioramas, we stand here in the middle. So we use 10 centimeters figurines up to 20 centimeter figurines. Each group and each person decides what scale do they want to use. So, and we basically go by the size of the figure. So that's the name that we give it. If we use this scale, we say that we use a 10 figurine scale. Or if we use this one, that's the classic dollhouse, the 112. But we don't, the name that we give that scale is not 112, but we say that this is a 14 centimeter figurine. Or we say just this is a 14 figurine. Those scales are quite big. For reference, I've put here the ones that are mostly used in model railways, in architectural miniatures, aviation, fantasy, tabletop, and all of that. And they use those HO 172 or these 28 mil scales. Those are way smaller. And then we also have bigger scales for cinema and practical effects and things like that. They build it way bigger, this 12-inch scale or this half scale. And we also have nativity dioramas that use 1 meter figurines or 100 centimeter figurines. That would be almost 40 inches. I've seen those, and actually I've built figurines for those. But mostly, everyone would go with anything in between here. So for the nativity scene that I built at my place at home, people tend to use the smaller ones. And for instance, in my house, all the figurines that I have, they are 12 figurines. And for the one we use at Paredes, at the exhibition at the group where I joined, we do 20 centimeter figurines for things that are closer to the viewer. And then as we move further from the viewer, then we go smaller and smaller and smaller, because most nativity dioramas are not built at scale, but they are built with perspective, or using perspective. We use perspective, and so in our collection in Paredes, we actually have figurines. We have a lot of figurines in any of those sizes. And with 3D printing, I can print in any size. That's the beauty of it, that I can create a figurine and print it in any size that I want. So I can print the same figurines bigger and put it closer, and I can print the same figurine smaller and put it further. The building that I'm doing right now, so the arch that I'm building with the stones, I am building it for 20 figurine. So that the idea is that it can be used up close when I go to the exhibition. Then this year we have to build 2 dioramas, not just the big one, but we have been asked if we could go to another town and build a second one. And for that second one, we have way less space. It's still gonna be big, but we have way less space. So we've decided to go for 16 figurines for things that are closer, and then we will go down as we move further. So I have a video posted of some cows that I modeled and then printed and then painted, and also a shepherd that I modeled, printed, and painted. And those, I was doing them thinking of a 16 figurine scale, and that we are building some trees because we have to build the whole scene, and the trees are also for 16 figurine. But the cows, I am actually printing cows that are, some are smaller, because the scene is gonna move further from the eye. So the cows that are further, we have to use smaller ones. So we always have to consider perspective. And when we decide at which scale we are building one thing, one figurine, one construction, one bridge, one tree, whatever we are building, we have to decide on our composition how far is it going to be from the viewer, and based on how far we decide the scale. So I hope that it was clear enough. I have the feeling that I was messing up when I was explaining, but I hope you understood. And if not, I might talk about it more times. So with the questions out of the way, let's go, Bill.